Welcome back, guys. So New Zealand has fallen. Thought I would give you guys a few of my thoughts on the subject. I've intentionally waited a little while before I throw it up, just to kind of let things play out. New Zealand's Prime Minister has come out and they have announced that they are banning the sale, possession of, as they call, military-style semi-autos, up to and including guns, magazines, accessories, etc. They are giving New Zealand residents a grace period with which to turn them in, and they're going to treat the grace period like a buyback, of which they will supposedly pay the owners fair and just compensation, whatever that means. So after the grace period, you'll be facing serious prison time if you're found to be in possession of one of those types of weapons or magazines or accessories. They did all this within just days after the shooting that took place there. Now, if I were a conspiracy-minded person, I would find it very interesting that almost everything this individual laid out in his manifesto that he wanted to accomplish, they did, like almost to the letter. If I were a conspiracy-minded person, I might also point out that I found it very curious and interesting that they had all this complex legislation drawn up and ready to go in less than a week after the shooting took place. Any of you that know anything about how such things work, that's an extraordinarily monumentous task to lay out such a law, not only banning but confiscating, taking in, etc., all of these guns and accessories. It's a big deal, and it's very complicated. It's not something you just sit down and jot out on your little pocket notepad, right? But somehow or another, in less than a week, they had this thing completely drawn up and laid out. Again, if I were conspiracy-minded, I would find that very curious. As a consequence of that, you've got the usual suspects and oxygen thieves pontificating so eloquently about praising New Zealand for taking such action, even though they admit that it wouldn't have prevented this shooting, and lamenting why we can't get something done as quick and easy here in the United States. Well, the reason that we can't get such things done here is very intentional. The reason that it takes so long for us to get stuff done in government is very intentional. The founders knew that people will be human and make emotional knee-jerk reactions. The government was designed to be very, very slow to act and move, to force people to think logically and rationally and not work off of emotion. So yeah, it takes a long time for things to get done here by design, thank God it does. Here's the bigger takeaway that I think everybody needs to pay close attention to. Number one, pay attention to all the people that are espousing such things and praising such things. Pretty much all of your so far announced Democratic presidential candidates are in favor of it. Plenty of them in Congress are in favor of it. Plenty of them at state and local level are in favor of it. Let that be a wake-up warning for you. But secondarily, what I did in looking around at this was to read a lot of comments. Social media, news articles, news videos, etc. Reading the comment sections. There are a lot of people in this country of voting age who agree with all of that. They want to see the Second Amendment gone, completely gone. Some of them are even starting to let the veil slip somewhat, and they want other things altered, changed, restricted, and or gone from the Bill of Rights. Make no mistake about that. These are our fellow Americans. There's a good article I read a while back where the writer was pointing out that we are already in a cold civil war. Now, I've been saying that for a long time. He just laid it out far more eloquently than I could ever say. But we're there, and with people that hold the views that these other people hold, such as all the socialists and the communists who are running on the Democrat ticket for president and other office, and people who support them, when people get to the mental and intellectual level that these people are at, there's no talking with them because they are incapable of rational discussion. They have shut off all rational thinking, and nothing you can say or do or show them is going to convince them they've been born, bred, and raised to be this way. It started a couple of generations ago. So, my point in bringing all that out is to tell you to take that to heart. Get the things that are on your list that you want to have as soon as you can. Don't go panic buying, don't go freaking out, but sit down, make a very objective list. What do I want? If things go bad, for whatever reason, if I have to defend my life, my family's lives, our collective rights, what do I want to have to defend them with and accomplish that task? Make up that list, then start figuring out how you can budget for it, and start working on it as hard and fast as you can. Mags, ammo, extra guns, whatever. Now, far be it for me to tell you that you shouldn't have multiple guns. I've got multiple. However, not all of those are my go-tos. I've got my go-tos and some backups, and then I've got some others that are very situation specific. My advice to you, if you're somebody new starting out or whatever, get a primary, get a backup, and then get lots of mags and ammo and train. Then you can start adding in others for different uses and purposes if you so desire. And I'm speaking both rifle and handgun. Have a good primary rifle, a good backup rifle, a good primary handgun, and backup handgun. Preferably something that all takes the same ammunition and magazines. Keep logistics simple. Don't wait. I don't know what kind of clock we're working on here, But coming local and national elections in the next 2 years are going to be very important. And we say this every election, but it seems like every election the stakes get higher and higher, and the margin of error that we can afford gets narrower and narrower. At some point, that window is going to be that big, and that margin of error is going to be that big. Don't procrastinate. Don't procrastinate, guys. Let New Zealand be an example of just how quickly things like that could happen if we get the right people, and by the right people, I mean the absolute, utter, completely wrong people in positions of power and office. Pay very close attention to the world stage. Pay very close attention to the national stage. And as you've heard me say before, pay very close attention to your state and local stages. Who's running your city council? Who's running your county commission? Who's your mayor? Who's your sheriff? A lot of people don't understand the sheriff is one of the most powerful elected officials in the entire country. If our sheriffs across the country ever truly woke up, and some of them have, and realized the full extent of their constitutional power, it would send shudders through the federal government. It really would. Sheriffs hold an enormous amount of authority and power, and that's by design and by intent by some pretty smart doggone people a long time ago. I'll stop beating this dead horse, guys. Pay attention. Look at what's going on. Keep a weathered eye on the political horizon and the world event horizon, and don't wait to get your stuff squared away. And by getting your stuff squared away, that's not only the tangible but the intangible. Knowledge, training, practice. Got to have all that in there to go with it. The day may come when you need all of it together. So take care, guys. We'll see you in another one.